work should not be chained to an office.
Okay, not attached. Yeah,
Not
as a rule.
attached. Yeah, so then this whole concept of hybrid work came out. So the main app is just a map that you can kind of access, and you can see all of the different locations. We started with just WhatsApp, to be honest. It was just a WhatsApp card. We'd make like a Photoshop card.
Yeah.
What we've done is actually we've integrated with all the hotels, the business centers to have live availability of the space. My team actually tracks all of that to give them reports at the end of the month.
Okay. You're providing the benefit for both sides.
If this lockdown was to continue forever,
Yeah.
how do we survive as a business?
During the COVID, you innovate, I would say.
When I was a student, I used to sit in coffee shops,
Sipping that one coffee.
sipping that one coffee, and they'd stare at you like, do you want to order something?
Yes.
I can now use Let'sWork. I can now work remotely and not have to come to the office anymore. But obviously we had to grow the community for it to actually be, tech enabled as well. 96% of hybrid working employees want to remain hybrid.
When you think about work, you can think about Let's Work.
Exactly.
Welcome to another episode. I know it's been a long time, but we're back again. And today I will start with a bold statement. Idea of working full-time in the office is dead. Last year, 45% of people in US worked remotely. According to Bloomberg, 40% of people would consider to quit their job if remote option would be not available. Idea to work without leaving your home while you're still in your pajamas, avoid traveling and traffic sounds really good. But there is a little problem. Some of us feel isolated, distracted at home. So we're missing socialized element. So we started to look around coffee shops, hotel venues and lounges, and looking for social friendly spaces. And this is why we are here today. Let'sWork, Dubai startup, decided to take this idea to the next level. They're connecting users with the working locations. I will meet EMAAR, one of the co-founders of Let'sWork, and we will talk about their business and what future of remote work will look like. Hey EMAAR.
Hey,
Nice to see you.
good to see you too. How's everything?
Good, good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for
really,
having me.
would like to know more about your startup, why we are here in this beautiful and interesting location.
So my name is Omar Al-Meheri. I'm the co-founder and CTO of Let'sWork. Let'sWork is an app and marketplace that helps connect people to places to work from, so offices, co-working spaces, and even they can book meeting rooms through our spaces. The whole idea of it was, how can we enable the remote working community? It started with an idea of, there's a lot of spaces around the UAE that are kind of empty during the day, so how can we enable them to become not just a restaurant, a hotel, or a cafe, but a workspace for people. So that's how the idea came up. We started with 5 locations. It was 2019.
Okay.
And today we're up to about 150 locations. We also just launched in Portugal this morning.
Okay, so you're not only regional.
No, we're looking at global. I mean, after COVID, everyone's remote working. So we really want to, take initiative and be that kind of go-to remote working app.
Nice. Okay. Why are we meeting here in this beautiful location today? It's one of your partners, I believe.
Yeah. This space is really cool because it's not just a cafe, but it's actually a plant shop and a painting place. So imagine instead of just sitting in a normal Starbucks or something, come to these really cool local concepts and have a great place to work from. There's great Wi-Fi, the coffee is great. As a part of the membership, you get free coffee as well, so make use of that. And I don't know, I like the place, I like the music. It's a really nice environment to be in instead of being in a closed office. Let's make use of what we have.
Socialized space.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. So I'm a user. Let's say I landed remote work, job offer or something.
Okay.
And instead of working from home, I would start considering an option to go in some places. That's the idea for the app.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
So we typically, as you said, right, there's remote workers that use us, but as well as that, there's corporates, students, freelancers. So it's honestly for anyone who wants to remote
Okay,
work.
yeah, freelancers as well, startups.
Exactly, yeah. It's very simple. So we have a app and a website. So the main app is just a map that you can kind of access, and you can see all of the different locations. So we're right here in Ivy Secret Garden in Al Khoz. If you click on it, you can see the different facilities. So it gives you an overview, the food policy, how to check in, and the beverages included. So you get tea, coffee, water, on top of 20% discount off the food from this space here.
Okay.
So kind of like an affordable way to work from these spaces, and we make sure you have everything you need to have a productive day. We noticed that a lot of hotels and offices have meeting rooms that are untapped.
Like business centers
Exactly,
in a hotel,
business
yeah.
centers and hotels. So if you want to book a hotel right now in a meeting room, what would you do? You call them.
Yeah, go to hotel
email,
website or
go
something.
to the
Yeah,
hotel.
exactly.
And it's a back and forth process. So they have to check if it's available. They send it back to you. Maybe even you have to pay with cash, just because it's very outdated and they don't really focus on that.
Yeah.
What we've done is actually we've integrated with all the hotels, the business centers, to have live availability of the space. So I don't need to think, okay, I have to call them and go back and forth. Instead, I book exactly when I need it and pay right now and just go visit the space.
Can we touch a little bit? What's the membership? What's
Sure.
the price of the membership? Because if you work every day, let's say 21 working days, and the coffee is included, so
you end up, so that was kind of the base of the idea. So me and Hamza were actually working from the roof downtown. And, I love coffee, so I drink about 2-3 espressos a day.
yeah,
And that would end up costing me about 60 dirham plus water plus food. So we said, okay, can we make it as cheap as 1 coffee a day to work from these spaces? Because at the end of the day, these venues actually want people to come in. If you pass by a coffee shop or a restaurant that's empty, you're probably not going to go and visit it. And on the other side, you have hotels and co-working spaces. They want access. They want people to come and utilize the asset. They paid a lot to build the space.
Yeah.
Let's have people coming in and talk about it, post about it. So we have 3 packages: a daily, which is 39 dirhams, a weekly, which is 209, sorry, and the monthly, which comes down to about 399, depending if you take more than 1 month of the membership.
So if you're gonna divide from 21 times coffee,
yeah, about like what is it?
it's kind of a deal.
Exactly. Yeah, you'll save money. It's about 19 dirhams a day at our lowest package that you can go for.
Sounds good. Okay, so I have an app. What's next? As a user, what I do? Select the venue.
Exactly. So you decide where you're going to work. So obviously we decided last night, we said, let's meet at the Ivy Secret Garden. Very simply, as soon as you get there, you just click check-in. Once you're checked in, my name would come up on the app that the branch manager has. So we've actually given the exact same app to the waiters or the restaurant manager to be able to see who's actually checking into the space.
Okay, for the venue, yeah.
For the venue. And then you just go sit down where you want to. Usually we have a reserved area, but they're pretty flexible on where you want to sit. The reason it's reserved is we want to keep the plugs close to the members.
For the laptops, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And you get the Wi-Fi password, and it's very simple. They know that you've checked in, and they'll ask you, are you a Let'sWork member? And as soon as you say yes, they say, okay, would you like to drink some coffee, water? Would you like some food? They already know, because it's kind of a daily thing where we have members coming in.
It's kind of special treatment. They recognize it's part of Let'sWork.
Yeah.
And like you said, what else? Coffee or something. Yeah.
And we remove that kind of awkwardness where, I don't know, when I was a student, I used to sit in coffee shops when I was in Boston. And I would be sitting in a coffee shop for hours.
Sipping that one coffee.
Sitting at one coffee, and they'd stare at you like, do you want to order something? Because they view it as like a seat being taken by one person, which I can, bring in. Luckily for us, we have a good partnership with them that they actually want people to come in, because they selected the times and the days that they want. Because the restaurants know when it's empty, when it's open. Let's utilize and maximize the revenue that they can generate.
All right.
It's kind of 2 players that we're working with. One is the cafes, restaurants, and hotels, which are looking to maximize the revenue from their F&B. So how do we bring footfall into the space, activate it, get some more revenue from food and beverage, and my team actually tracks all of that to give them reports at the end of the month.
Okay.
On the other side, we have co-working spaces, and that's kind of the interesting one. If you signed up for a co-working space now, you'll have the same 20 people around you every day.
Yeah. For example, I've worked in the co-working space for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So I'm very familiar, yeah.
Exactly. So instead of you buying one membership for one co-working spaces, let's give you a passport to go to as many co-working spaces as you can. So you're not chained to one. You can start attending events at different co-working spaces and not specific to your same one. And we did this while speaking to all the co-working spaces in Dubai and outside of the UAE. We found out that, that they want additional
They see that as a
footfall,
benefit.
and it's a benefit to them, right? It's the same kind of trend that went through hotels. Before, you used to book hotels directly or through their website, and now there's a step further where there's a membership, like Airbnb and other hotel companies are doing this. Buy one membership and access all the different spaces around.
Okay.
So it's kind of the trend that we're trying to get to.
Interesting. All right. So what I'm interested in is to know about the venue side, like what information they get, what's the benefit.
Sure. So I can show you the app and the dashboard that we've actually given them, so you can get a look and feel of what kind of access they
Yeah,
get.
let's check it out. Yeah.
Sure. So Daria's our business development manager, and she kind of handles all the different venues that we have. So here, this is kind of the dashboard, and she prepares the report to give to them. So she can see trends. So because we've been working with the same space for like years, we can kind of tell how many people are going to be coming on a Thursday versus a Wednesday. So we share that kind of reporting with them. As well as that, if you have the app for the manager, so this is what the staff on site use to basically make sure that everyone's kind of checked in. But we leave like 5-star reviews. We say, is it good coffee? Is the ambience productive?
After your session, let's say.
Exactly, yeah. These guys are coming here every day, so it's live feedback for the restaurant or cafe or co-working spaces to improve their services as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And what's great is that, the team's always in contact with the venues just to make sure everything's running smoothly. They message us as well if they, God forbid, they need to shut down for a day. We're flexible. And we're lucky that we have a lot of spaces to cover that as well. Exactly, yeah, simple notifications. They need to shut down for a day, we'll convey it to the members, and then it's that simple.
All right, question, it's a part of a Let'sWork team, yeah?
This is the team, yeah?
Yeah. Do you guys have actually office, like physical office?
We work from our own spaces, so we believe in our own product, so working from our spaces is a very important part of that. So our team meetings are conducted in our meeting rooms, and throughout the week we aim to all meet up in our different spots.
Yeah, okay. So you're just utilizing your app.
Yeah, you got to live the product, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's cool because we break off into different teams. So I'm more involved in tech. So Nidal is our designer. So he's the one who does UI UX, but these are the guys that have been with us from day one. So
yeah.
we don't interact as much as we used to, but it's nice to work together.
Nice, sounds good. Aware of Thomas, yeah. Beautiful content. I'm following him on LinkedIn, yeah.
Exactly. Thomas is our marketing guru and content. All the pictures, all the stuff on the app is from him.
I'm following from the media, so you guys are really good, doing really good game kind of on the content, yeah.
Yeah.
Benefits, let's say, as a user, comparing with me checking in the coffee shop, comparing to using your app.
If you only have that one coffee, then they're gonna look at you like, are you gonna order some more?
That's what I want to touch a little bit. So you don't have that pressure by using your app, coming and working kind of all day, let's say 8 working hours.
Yeah.
There's no pressure to buy lunch or something from the venue, yeah.
We actually do compensate the branch or the venue for that check-in. So if a user comes in, we actually compensate them and say, here, this is what we owe you for that person coming in.
Getting some kind of
they get a
fraction of payment.
Exactly. So it's kind of like a revenue share model. So that's enough for them to just kind of occupy, allow people to come and work from there.
If I understood right, they opening a space, specifically time. This is when we would like your users to come at our venues.
Exactly. Yeah. So depending on the space, they can actually decide. I would want 5 people to come today.
Okay, you have that as well, yeah.
Yeah, so they can decide if it's a big space, they'll leave it open. If it's a smaller space, they'll basically say, let's only have 5 people per day.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we want to help them as a venue, and we don't want a bad experience for our customers as well.
You're providing the benefit for both sides, let's say for the user and for the venue, utilizing the space.
Exactly. So it's a we call it a win-win-win for us, for them, and obviously for the spaces.
Okay. And how let's say, I don't know, 5 users, Let'sWork, they're coming in the space. Are they placed in one space? Are they like sitting around? Are they recognize somehow each other?
Yeah, so we essentially, when we partner with the space, we ask them to keep a reserved area where the plugs are, because essentially everyone's going to be working, but it's not chained to that. They can work wherever they want, depending. I mean, I personally, I like working outside sometimes if I have enough charge in my laptop. We also serve coffee in our mugs so that, you know, other members can know each other. So if I'm looking for like a freelance graphic designer, it just happens to be that the person next to me was a freelance graphic designer, so we can end up speaking to each other. That's done very kind of like organically. Right now, what we're working towards on our app is to add that community-based feature. And I think it's really important, you know, being an entrepreneur or being a freelancer is really lonely sometimes.
Yeah.
So that's why people look for co-working spaces to grow
Exactly.
the network. But how can we do that in a space like this? And I think the app will help with that a lot.
We're looking for social interactions, and the co-working space benefit is like a network,
Exactly.
building a network.
But obviously, we had to grow the community for it to actually be, you know, tech-enabled as well. We don't want to have a community feature on the app without that many people working around you. The first step that we're going to take is basically build the profile. So allow the user to actually upload what they want other people to know. We're trying to figure out what the right product to build is. And as well as that, we're doing more events now to bring everyone together and actually understand, like, is this a part of the benefit that you guys want?
Yeah.
Dubai has a lot of networking events already. Either we, you know, use them and just market them on our platform, or we go ahead and make Let'sWork members only community events, just so that everyone feels like this is our community and, you know, it's a closed circle. But the great thing is, as you mentioned, you used to be in co-working spaces. Like I said, it's the same kind of people around you. With us, we have people buying day passes, you know, randomly throughout the month. We have loyal members who've been with us for the month, so it's a very diverse group. Actually, when COVID hit, a lot of people migrated to Dubai to do their remote work.
Yeah, exactly.
So we had a lot of people from outside of the country actually using Let'sWork, which was really interesting.
Okay.
And we can see from the emails, or we can see from actually meeting them at our spaces. Someone would say, I just moved here for 6 months because I'm remote working and
Why
I'd rather
not?
be
Yeah.
here.
Working
Exactly.
in Europe, in Germany, whatever.
Exactly, yeah.
And then here's the good weather. Nice
Exactly.
nice venues for sure.
Perfect, yeah. So we want to actually do that globally also. So, you know, I've always told my team, I was like, I'd love to just, you know, live in like Europe for like a month or two. And even
work.
better, exactly, even better. If I have Let'sWork there, then it makes sense for me to even be there. I have that added value. I have that, you know, map to know that my work will not actually be affected if I travel. I have spaces that I can, you know, rely on and count on.
Sounds good. Yeah. I have more questions, but we can leave that for seated place.
Sure.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Sounds good. I spent some time in UK in WeWork facilities. The first thing what I remember the cups for me felt so good. Every morning you come in, you take the cup.
Yeah.
Coffee is free, milk is free, everything is free. So it impacted me a lot.
It's such a cool space as well. Like the way they do it, they really they calculate per square foot how much it costs. So the way they do it is they come to you as a landlord and they say, we'll give you this returns if you lease it out for 10 years to us.
Okay, yeah.
So it's a bit of a complicated model, but hey, it worked. I think they did well. Some ups and downs, obviously.
Yeah, we heard in the past, yeah.
Yeah, so we thought of the whole co-working space thing, but then we looked at all the numbers, we did all the like projections, and we said, look, it's like very risky for a place like Dubai as well, right? Very transient. And we really wanted something scalable without that massive like risk or a massive like burden on your shoulder of convincing we need this much money. Instead for us, it's let's build the tech, let's build the team, and just scale it. To launch a space here, it needs us to list them on the app, Daria or someone from the team to actually speak to the manager and just tell them like, hey, look,
Onboarding, yeah.
yeah, and even it's coming inbound, so they're coming to us now and saying, hey, we want to list our space. Maybe Thomas comes in, does a couple of photos, and you'll see people coming the same day as well, which I love the most now.
Yeah.
When we launch a space, you can already see like 30 people come.
You get a notification on
Yeah,
newsletters.
just one notification. Everyone's excited. Oh, what's this new space?
I was reading about that it was the beginning part of EMAAR program.
Yeah.
Can you tell me more a little bit?
Yeah, so I used to study in Northeastern University in Boston. So I did electrical and computer engineering. When I was graduating, someone told me about this program part of EMAAR. And before, to me, EMAAR, growing up here, my school was in an EMAAR community. It was like Arabian ranches, so like just a few things. I didn't even know what the EMAAR was until I did my first interview with them, and I really found out, it's a huge company. They have everything. And this was in the 5 years that I was in Boston.
Once you first time interacted with them, which year it was?
This was 2017. And so when I did the interview, I kind of understood what they wanted to do. And to me, it was so interesting. We were brought in for two reasons. And this is me and Hamza and a bunch of other people.
Co-founder, yeah.
Yeah, my co-founder, Hamza. And we were brought in to essentially look at different components of EMAAR. And EMAAR is not just property, right? It's real estate, hospitality, entertainment, commercial leasing, and even there's an element of tech involved with EMAAR.
Yeah.
And so when I heard about that, they said, okay, we want you to basically come in and be an entrepreneur in residence and work in different things. So luckily for Hamza and I got to work with Dubai Mall. I got to work with Nemshi as well. To us, just to be part of like different sectors and just move around in this huge company was amazing. That experience will always stay with us. And part of it was they wanted us to launch a new company, a new startup under EMAAR.
Okay.
So like an incubator. So Let'sWork came out of EMAAR in terms of, there's real estate, there's hospitality, and now this whole commercial leasing of coworking, WeWork was kind of the thing. And they said, we want to look into this space. Me and Hamza kind of went back to them and said, let's not build anymore. Let's utilize what we have. And the initial first step was the Rove hotels. So Rove hotels were, a beautiful space. They grew massively now in the last couple of years. And we work so close with them. So that's when the idea came about. We said, okay, great, there's like 20 people working here. So we went up and convinced them, pay for a membership, and then that will be your co-working. This will be your office for the day. And you know what? There's 4 other roves, so you can still use this membership in the other roves.
Okay.
So that's how we started. And we started with just WhatsApp, to be honest. It was just a WhatsApp card. We'd make a Photoshop card.
Yeah.
They'd pay at the hotel, and then I would send them a WhatsApp card, and Hamza would deal with the marketing and making sure everyone has their emails. It was very manual, but it was enough for us to say okay, this thing, it's like an MVP.
Yeah.
People are paying for this. Let's actually build something around it. And one of the members actually was a software developer, and he liked the idea so much that he said, "Let me help you build it." He's like, "Just put my name there as kind of like a marketing for me." So that was a product we built for a whole year, which was just an iPad that we kept at each location. We were just under 2,000 members.
Still sounds a lot, 2,000 members.
Just me and Hamza. So the landline that they would call was just me or Hamza. So you'd call for customer service, it would be me or Hamza answering the phone. We'd have so many different issues where the iPad wasn't working, or God knows the customer's membership wasn't loading. And now it's easier because we have an app and we have a chat service. But before it was everything on WhatsApp, on the calls. But it was, again, enough for us to get enough money and get enough traction. Yeah, and validate it to say, okay, this thing's actually real. People do want this service. Let's build something. Let's build an app. Let's grow the team. This thing has legs. So that's kind of how we started everything. So that's our story.
Okay. What's the story? How did you met with Hamza?
I met him at the EMAAR program.
The program, yeah.
Yeah. So we met there. He was legal. He's a certified lawyer. So he worked at Clifford Chance, and we put it together. We're like, okay, wait, we can actually make a decent amount of money, and this is something new that hasn't been tapped into, especially in the Middle East. We're kind of opposites, but in a good way.
Yeah.
So I'm very tech kind of focused. I've always been obsessed with tech. Hamza's very, he has a very keen eye to detail and very energetic. So most times if we have to pitch to someone, he's the one who has to do it. If we need to, any kind of branding or marketing, he knows exactly where the brand should go. And And I think it works that way.
Yeah.
You know, I'll build it. He puts the vision together, and it works that way. He's CEO and I'm CTO.
I think I was reading that in 2020 Q1 you guys grow the most. Any lesson what you did right?
In 2020, I think that's when we first reached product market fit. And what I mean by that is obviously we're not like a crazy company, we're still a startup, but what product market fit is to me is when you don't really need to do much for people to buy your membership or book a space. It's just automated.
You mean no active sales?
No active sales, and we just started with active sales as well, just to give you like an idea of where we are. And that was in January, so everything was just picking up. Our website visits like tripled. It was crazy. We thought, you know, this is it.
Yeah.
This is really everything's picking up. With us taking a back seat, so we're like, okay, this is great. Obviously, operations gets more hectic as more people join.
You're scaling, yeah.
Exactly. Then February there was news about this thing called COVID. So we're like, okay, what's happening with the world? And that's when it even picked up even more, because people were closing down their offices. Nothing was announced publicly, but you could see companies joining us. We could see their emails changing from just Gmail to like @company.com.
Okay, and then part of your members.
Exactly,
Yeah.
they were becoming members with us. So these were people that knew about us but never signed up because they were corporates that used their office. But now what happened is their office is closed for the week. Okay, great, I can now use Let'sWork. I can now work remotely and not have to come to the office anymore. We really imagined like if this lockdown was to continue forever, how do we survive as a business? What we did was we called the Rove, which was like our first like strongest partner, the Rove Hotels, because they were in the same kind of situation. I mean, the whole world was in the same situation. And we said, guys, can we convert one of your rooms into a private office? They're like, yeah, of course. So we built something on the app. At the same time, they converted their rooms into offices. Remove the bed, put a desk in, and we were working in terms of the tech, the marketing, how do we push this out to customers? And within a week, we had a press release go out that's saying you can actually book a private office for, I think it was 120 dirham back then, and it went massive. Everyone wanted to book these spaces. Then they can go in, use the space as their office, and then just leave. We did a whole like sanitizing campaign. We made sure there's a QR code for them to actually order their coffee to the room as well.
Oh.
The Rove Hotel kind of were so happy with this, and we were so excited. And you know, the craziest thing, till today, it's one of like the most popular things. People are still booking this private office for them.
Interesting.
They don't want to book an office, but let me take a hotel room for the day. And it's so popular. Still, like, we started launching with other hotels as well, just because the demand was a lot.
During the COVID, you innovate, I would say.
Yeah.
And made a decision that let's try to utilize hotel room that is not used.
Yeah.
People who would like to have private space, not at home. Yeah.
So I guess there's two tips you could say. So from the story of how we started, you know, validate it quick. I've seen a lot of people spend a lot of time and money planning and building something, unfortunately no one ends up using. There's so many tools out there for you to actually validate a concept.
Yeah.
To give you an example, someone was working for 4 months to build a dashboard for their product, which could have been done within an hour or two with tools like Typeform and Zapier, just to start getting some revenue.
Release, yeah.
So that's one tip for anyone who's trying to start. The second would be, like we did with the Rove Hotel rooms, is be agile. The reason you're a startup is you're not chained to something. You can quickly pivot to what you need what your customers actually need. And COVID taught us one thing, you know, like nothing's for sure. Everything changes month on month. So just be sure that you're aware and you have that kind of agility.
I found one statement. This is like a more personal approach. Statement: being one of the Emirati founded tech startups to expand globally is a major milestone. So how do you feel about that? And do you feel proud as Emirati entrepreneurship now even expanding, you know, overseas as a founder?
Yeah, I mean, when we first started Let'sWork, every time me and Hamza would visit another city or country just for holiday, we'd always send each other pictures of spaces. We're like, oh, this would be cool on Let'sWork.
Okay.
London, Lisbon, wherever. Like we can actually take this to other cities. You know, let's perfect the model. Let's start scaling it like a cookie cutter approach. And for me to be an Emirati tech founder, obviously I'm very proud, but I think there's still so much we should do. I think the UAE did a great job in, you know, promoting entrepreneurship and promoting, you know, starting your own business, and specifically to the Emirati, you know, Emirati population. They're here. We're such a little community that we have the power to kind of come together and actually orchestrate what the next founders can, you know, utilize. A part of this is, you know, opening up doors for funding, opening up doors for mentorship,
Spaces.
and, you know,
yeah.
spaces. And I think having that role model is really important. I mean, you can see what's happening in Saudi Arabia now. Once Kareem did their whole IPO, Kareem did the acquisition from Uber. One of the founders is Saudi, and that just sprung all the different Saudi startups that are coming up now.
Like inspiration.
They said there's one guy that did it, let's follow in his steps, and Saudi's doing an incredible job. UAE is definitely doing an incredible job, and I think there's still a lot more space for us to grow. And I think that is something I'm proud of, to be kind of one of the first in this space.
Yeah.
You know, all of us working together to have that one first success story to come
Exactly.
out. I think that's really important.
Okay. Government support, you know, like
Of course,
creating
yeah.
co-working spaces, like you said, there is mentorship, incubators, yeah.
Government support's huge. They're doing a lot. They just launched the first Dubai Future Fund, and I think that's already like a huge step. The country is perfectly situated to enable people to come up with startups, especially with being in such a central hub
Yeah.
where you can go and expand, and that's kind of why Let'sWork made sense in the UAE. We have a lot of companies that have gone global, obviously, from the UAE. I mean, Emiratis and EMAAR and all these, you know, huge names. But what we're looking for is that startup that started from nothing to growing up
to
to
a few.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's really where it's going to tip and really push different people to different Emiratis to say, you know what, let me start something. The universities are doing a great job. Different co-working spaces are doing a great job. There's so many events. The youth hub is really
Yes.
pushing people in that. I spoke to a tech university that's completely online, and they're promoting coders to study coding and get certificates for coding based in Abu Dhabi. That's incredible, you know.
Yeah.
We're pushing people to software, to tech, which is great. So I think we're just at the beginning of it. I think there's so much that can happen, and I think we're on the right track for that.
Okay, that's great. Like you said, your example.
Trying to be an example.
Yeah.
Soon, I hope.
Humble, yeah. Any challenges you faced? Obviously, you
Yeah.
faced, but like anything is interesting and worth topic to discuss.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of challenges with any startup. It's the beginning is kind of the motivation. It's like why am I doing this? That's kind of the hardest thing. You know, I think definitely finding something that you're passionate about is important, and that can come from speaking to your customers and hearing, you know, their feedback is great, right? For me, the challenges are obviously all with tech. Tech always breaks, but out of that comes like some like realization. So one time our app actually just shut down for different reasons, and it was shut for about 3-4 hours. No one could check in, and it was in the middle of the day, which is kind of our peak.
Busy, yeah.
And we had so many customer calls. I had old customers that I had on WhatsApp WhatsApping me like, "Hey, is everything okay? The app's down. I can't check in." And that to me was like, oh my, like people love using this, you know. There are people using this, and that's when you kind of like, okay, we're doing this for a reason.
Okay, you realized it, to be honest, how
Yeah,
many
yeah.
at that time, to be honest, facing that
Exactly.
issue.
Yeah, facing that issue, you're like, oh god, like this is like it's real.
I have responsibilities now.
Exactly.
Make it work.
Yeah. As a founder, there's no time to actually switch off, which is horrible. But that's one of the big challenges. Is your mind is always about like, okay, what can we do? Am I doing enough? What's next?
Yeah.
Is everyone doing what they need to be doing? Do I need to guide anyone? So that's kind of one of the biggest challenges of starting a company as well.
As a startup vision and as an industry itself of remote work, of remote locations like this, What do you think was the vision? What's the vision for the company and for the industry itself?
Essentially, like, we wanted to shape the future of work. What I mean by that is, it's the one kind of thing that wasn't really changed. You know, going to the office, coming back from the office was always there. What happened with the gig economy and people being freelancers, that's when it started changing and people started working from different countries, different cities, working from different places. Me as a student, I hated going to the library. I'd always work from a coffee shop just because I liked the environment. I liked having people around me. And it's this weird kind of like having someone watching you, kind of like, okay, I should be doing work, which was nice. The vision was reshape that, but I think what happened with COVID was it educated everyone, and not only individuals, but companies too, that work should not be chained to an office.
Okay, not attached. Yeah,
Not
as a rule.
attached. Yeah, so then this whole concept of hybrid work came out. And Let'sWork, we're not saying, don't get an office. You can actually rent offices directly from our app. What we're saying is don't chain yourself to one location, let work work around your life. You don't have to go drive an hour commute to your office and an hour back. How much time you waste with that. You can work from home every now and then, but we want to be that third place. So not your home and not your office, but a third place that you can kind of always resort to. The vision with Let'sWork was, let's become that work app. So now if you want to book a hotel, you go on booking.com. Want to book a car, you go to Uber. You want to book work, what's
When you
an
think
app
about
for work?
work, you can think about Let'sWork.
Exactly. What we want to do is here's an app for your work life, right?
Yeah. Workspace.
Workspaces, even gamifying it, right? Like you get different levels of how many spaces you've been to or stuff
Okay.
like that. So there's a lot we can play around with it, and a vision is to go global with this. So today, obviously, we launched in Portugal, but that's just one step. We launched there to learn. So Bahrain is another market as well. So we're testing the waters, seeing can we really replicate what we did in Dubai, in the UAE, in Portugal as well. And I think we have a great team that's helping to do that. So definitely that go-to app for work is what we want to, reach.
You think it will be just for the freelancers and remote workers, or also corporates?
I know definitely corporates. I think corporates is a huge thing because what they can do is actually reduce on their capex. So imagine a company, how much they pay for rent for 7 floors.
Yeah.
Just have it as 3 floors, call it your HQ. I think there's a statistic that says about 96% of hybrid working employees want to remain hybrid. They don't want to go back to the office permanently. Some people do, and that's completely fine.
Yeah.
But the majority love the fact that they can work from home 2 days a week, and then maybe in the office 3 days a week, depending on their company policy. Yeah. Give your employees a pass where they can access all these spaces, and there's always one close by. So there's one close to your home, close to your kid's school, close to your gym at night, or close to wherever you want to go for the night out. Not just like a benefit, but part of their operations as well. They can actually manage teams easier that way.
Yeah, teams maybe go to one location, like
Exactly.
you said, like your team.
And we go to more than one place per day. If all of a sudden these guys say, "Oh, let's get some ice cream or something," we'll shift to one of our other locations and
the
work
venues
from
that
there.
are good with ice creams.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, interesting. Well, thanks a lot.
Thank
it was
you
really
so
nice to chat with you.
Pleasure speaking to you as well.
I believe that remote work will stay here, and environment is changing, and I think it's just in general well-being of employees. It's just better to have this option, come in different places, productivity to stay, focused on everything.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, look at the space.
Yeah.
It's
Thanks
great.
a lot.
Thank you.
Is this future of work? Tell us what you think. Tell us where do you work? What do you prefer? Office, remote, from the home, or flexible like this? Let us know. It's interesting for me to find out. And as well, don't forget to subscribe, share and like. Show us some love because it will help us to create more episodes like this. See you next time.